Hi, this is Joe at Joe's Test Studio.
Well, welcome again to Joe's Test Studio. In this episode, I'm going to show you how I begin a painting, the work ahead of time for the painting, by doing value studies. I like doing them. A lot of people don't like it. They get bored with it, I guess, but this is a little value study done with markers, and I have just lots and lots of these. I use a 2B pencil sometimes. I use markers. You can even use your watercolor to do it with. But I want to show you a little bit about how I approach the value study before the painting, and it does my thinking process for me. It tends to help, I think. This is the final or finished value study, and it's not too detailed, but detailed enough for me to work from. And so it's what I will transfer now to another sheet of paper and then transfer that to the watercolor. And by having this and not using a photograph, it gives me lots of freedom, lots of liberty in the painting to do. And this is done with the Copic pens, which I really like. These are particular ones are cool gray and warm gray. This is the cool gray and this is the warm gray in here. And I use both of them, and they come all the way from 2 to 8. They really go to 10, I think, but this is 8, and that's pretty dark, and so it's about as dark. And this is 2, so you can see the real light, the difference in it. So they're quick, they're easy. They have 2 points on them. I'll show them to you. They have a chisel point here and a brush point. So the chisel point I can get really fine lines with coming up. The brush point I can come in here like this, and you can go over other areas that you've already done, and it gives you some nice little highlights and very, very quick. So it's kind of a practice between, let's continue it over there. It would be like a little mountain maybe back there that's trees or something back behind this other group. But it's a fun way to do value studies. I'll show you a couple more. They're very quick. They're 2 or 3 minutes, no more than 5 certainly. That's a little scene on a river that's not far from here. And this was going to be my highlighted area of bright yellows and reflected also into the water. So it's not about color, it's about value, dark and light. Dark and light. Here's another one that's a scene outside this studio where we are right now on a wintry, snowy day. Here's another one even that's done with a pencil. This is simply pencil. This is in Sapa, Vietnam, when I was there in 2003, and it's a little street scene in Sapa. It was raining that day. You can see all the umbrellas and the reflections in the thing. So it's an easy way to get started, and one of my favorites to do, and that's what we're going to do. Next is to take that on now and show you some other little techniques from it. Now that we have done the value study, I'm going to show you how I transfer this to the watercolor paper. There are lots of ways to do it, but one of the ways that I do it, and I tend to be very loose, and I enjoy that because that's my nature and my personality, so I don't get caught up in it. But what I'll do is use the value study to do the drawing, the larger drawing, that will then be transferred to the watercolor paper. And the reason I do that is once I get this larger drawing, I can do as many paintings as I want to on watercolor paper without going through the process of working all this out again and again. I only do it one time, and it's very, very simple. So here's what I've ended up with on the drawing that we will now take and transfer to the watercolor paper. We've done our drawing on just plain sketch paper. It's just an inexpensive, very thin sketch paper. You can use tracing paper or whatever. And now I've put some tape on my shirt here so I can be ready, and I'm going to tape this to the window here. This is just an ordinary window, and really what we're doing is making a light box. So we have that taped up there, and I have some more tape, and this is 140-pound cold press Arches paper, and I just happen to have it here. It's great paper. Everybody uses Arches, so, and can you believe that you can see that through this? Look there. So I'm going to tape this up right there, that up right there, and look. Isn't that easy? Now I have my pencil. This happens to be a 2B, actually it's a 4B, Faber-Castell, one of those little mechanical pencils, and I really like them. And I'm going to come right up here with this little tree line and just come right down there with it. There's an evergreen tree. We'll give it a little nice little prongs coming out there. And down here I have my house. I can be a little more careful with it because you see, after I've done this, I can always come back and clean up the edges. So don't be worried if it doesn't come out exactly like you think it should, because you still have your reference, you still have your value study, and you can work from that for it. So that's the way we put this. A tree coming up there, another little building back here. Isn't that easy? I mean, it's like it. We're just copying now is all we're doing. Even a little third grader can do this. My grandchildren can do this. We have those people out front, put those in very loosely. And all of this really is fairly loose because it's just put in to give me an idea where I'm going to go with my painting. Another evergreen tree, some more trees around here. And then when we take it down, we have the little drawing. And then we can come back and add the little detail, the little windows to it. Maybe we continue the side that got left out over there. That's part of the roof right there. So we'll have the drawing ready and done. And if we mess up on this painting and we still want to do the painting, we just simply come back with another sheet of watercolor paper, tape it right up there, and we're ready to go again. So it's really a real time saver to do the same painting several times. Now we have had our value study, and we've transferred that to another sheet of paper, a thin sheet that we can see through like tracing paper, and finally to the watercolor paper. And this is the final thing that we end up on. And the reason we did that, if we should do this little scene and not be happy with it or want to do it again and change it from winter to spring or fall of the year or summer, we can do that. And we don't have to go back and do the whole process again. We now have the sketch on the thin paper. Put it up in the window, go over it, and we've got it. Isn't that easy? Easy way to go from your sketch to your thinner paper and then finally to the watercolor paper, and now we're ready to paint.